Hey guys, so today I'm gonna show you how to build your own Dash application. It's a nice framework to use with Python, just to build a front-end application for a dashboard, a report, or basically anything. Afterwards, you can just upload it online for free and use it on the go, which is really great. And yeah, I really like this framework and just wanted to share. So what we are building here today is, as I said, a simple app. It will display just two plots, which are basically a representation of some COVID virus data. So the first plot will just show the data for a selected country, let's say US, or my home country, Lithuania. So yeah, it will just show the confirmed and the confirmed cases and dead cases for the selected country in the time period that the data is provided to. And the second plot just shows capabilities of bar chart, scatter, or table. So yeah, just select that and you can take it down to 10, just look at it better. And just switch around between the modes, so scatter, bar chart, and table. The fun thing about Plotly and Dash in general is you can actually zoom in on the plots if you want to, and you can just easily zoom out. Same goes with the switching of the legend, so if you want to just check the deaths, well, you can do that. Same with the confirmed cases. So yeah, we're gonna build this simple application and then we're gonna upload it online. The app is already built through the magic of video editing. But yeah, let's look into the code of the app, see what it is about, and go forward and upload it to the interwebs. So, as I said before, the app consists of two plots, one at the top and one at the bottom. One for the timeline and how the virus spread in corresponding country that you enter here. You can see that updates automatically, and the other is just to show a couple of possible ways to display some data, which is general data about the virus worldwide. And yeah, there's nothing much else to show here. As for the code itself, you have the usual import of some packages. I don't think there's a very specific need to go through each of one of those. I mean, the ones at the top are Dash corresponding packages, the two in the middle are Pandas and NumPy, well, one of the most used ones that I know of. And the last one is just an import from a script that I will show you later for the COVID data. We start with defining the style of the app. It's just some basic colors and CSS style sheets. These are quite common to define for each app that you make. I suggest you just have a common style that you like and reuse it. I did the same here, I just copy-paste the one that I use and yeah, moved on from there. Afterwards, you have the main variable, so the whole layout of the app, and it's just a big HTML div. And at the end of it, you just describe the background color and the colors that you used, but you will still need to describe those in each element of HTML divs that you're gonna use later on. Just for a basic understanding, an HTML div is just a block in your screen for the web app that you're gonna use and fill with something like text, input boxes, or plots. So going to those, you can see that the structure quite corresponds the things that you're gonna see on the web app. So we start with a header, You can see a header here, some text to explain what it is, then an input box, which is from dash core components, so DCC here. You can see you can define your input quite extensively. So define style separately from the whole app, define the placeholder, and define the default value that you're gonna use. Also, just to mention, you're gonna need to define the type of the input, just so that the dash knows what value is it. Is it an integer or like a number or a text value? As for this div right here, it's one big div for the plot. In the example code, I'll upload the code into the GitHub and you can just download it through the link in the description. But just going back to this plot div here, it's not defined as a plot div, it's again a simple HTML div with an ID on it as output timeline, and then just an empty div. So how this works and why it's empty? Well, most of the dynamic elements that you're gonna use in your app, you're gonna define through callbacks, which are basically just functions to call upon the things you want to show in your HTML div. So for this one in particular, the output timeline, we have a callback at the very end, which has two things to it. Well, it can have three things, but I'm not gonna go deeper into that. So it has the output, which is output timeline, the ID for the whole HTML div that we are using, and what we want to output to its children. And the input, which is country code and its value. So this input box right here, or in the code, it's here. This is the input with ID country code. So you can see here, if I'll change this to, let's say, Lithuania. Yeah, so it changes automatically, it says it's showing LT and shows the count of confirmed cases and deaths. So after calling the callback, you just define a function to update the value which you want to send to the output. And that's basically it. Like you can see here, I'm using a go figure call, which makes a figure object, a plotly figure object, which can be then inputted into HTML div and would display a graph like this. Just for the sake of example, I did a couple of those with this div, which is called output in the code, and here you can see one for bar chart, one for scatter, and one for table, just so you guys have a couple of examples to start with and build up onto. So that's pretty much basically it. What you have with the app is just the imports, the style, then the layout of the app, and then the callbacks you want to use for the dynamic divs that you're using, such as plots, tables, or whatever, like images, GIFs. There's a bunch of stuff you can input into this actually. As for the COVID data, I don't really think there's much need to explain. All I did is just use this package here to connect to the REST API that tracks the data for COVID virus, and just some pandas manipulations to get the data I need. And here you have a get timeline function, which makes this plot, which makes the data frame for this plot, and then a get COVID function, which makes this plot down below, the data frame again for the plot. And that's that. So with that said, let's try and upload this app online and see if it works. So for that, we're gonna use Heroku, which I have open here. When you sign up to Heroku, this is the window you're gonna see, just without that one app. and what you're gonna need to do is create a new app, give that app a name. So our GitHub app is called -COVID, so we're gonna do exactly the same name here. Oh, I guess it's because of that. Yeah, it's not available, so let's say COVID example. Yeah, that's good. Click create app, and what I suggest you do is connect your GitHub to Heroku. It can be easily done. You just click here and then give access to your repositories. Afterwards, all you're gonna do is give the repo name to Heroku, which is -COVID here, search. And yeah, I'm gonna be deploying from master branch. So just click deploy. So while it's building, what we can do is look into our GitHub repository and see what files are different from the whole app files. So we have the app file here, the COVID file here for the data, and the additional files you'll see are the proc file and the requirements file. So the proc file basically defines the runtime, and yeah, it's gonna be exactly the same for you if you're gonna use the app. All it does is just define that you should use GUnicorn for the web and go to the app and then look for server to run the app. As for the requirements, you can check those by listing your packages with pip, but just include the ones that you're using in the app, and of course the core packages for that. And that's basically it. If you have those two files and you deploy your app, which should be deployed by now, and it almost is, hopefully it should work. From time to time, you will get errors on Heroku. Either your Python version isn't the one that needs to be according to your packages, so just check your Python version and change your runtime. Or it can be a bunch of other things. As I said, sometimes it gives you an error, and I'm just hoping it won't give me one. So yeah, everything works pretty much as expected. As you can see, without too much work, you can have a nice little web app for your dashboards and reports to share with friends or colleagues, and you can upload it for free. If I'm correct, up to 5 apps can be uploaded with one account on Heroku and stored for free. They do have some limitations on the resources that you have, but for most use cases, they work just fine. So I encourage you to try uploading your app here and just, playing around, testing it out, and seeing what you can do with it. So as always, I was happy to share some of my work with you guys. Hope it helps, and hope you're gonna make some wonderful apps. And yeah, leave a like, subscribe, all that usual thing. See you again soon.